You know, it'd be great if I actually got like one of those buttons that you press to like turn the camera or start recording once I'm back there, because this situation here is always awkward. Hey guys, how's it going? Today I have a fun little video for you. It's kind of like a review or like a, I don't know, like a versus challenge maybe. What I'm doing is Copic markers versus a cheap alternative marker. So these guys are Touch 5 alcohol markers. I have a pack of 48 that I purchased with like a Groupon certificate thing. The reason why I thought this would be a good video is I have a lot of people commenting and asking and emailing me asking why, when they use their alcohol markers at home and they're copying what I'm doing and like doing everything right, are they not acting the same way as when I use Copics? And 9 times out of 10 it's either the paper you're using or it's the type of marker you're using. I really want to give the Touch 5s as much of a go as I possibly can. I want them to work because I want you guys to be able to create gorgeous marker drawings as well, and I know not everyone can afford these guys. So what I'm going to do is give these a go in a couple of different ways. First I'm going to try a way that I was taught to test out Copic markers, where you colour in one piece and then you use a blender on top just to see how much alcohol is actually in the ink. The alcohol of course being the thing that helps them blend. The next test will be a gradient, 3 gradients, so 3 different shades of the same colour and blending those together. That should be fairly easy for just about any marker, and you should have like a nice clean gradient, particularly if they're alcohol markers. And then the third test will be trying to blend 2 totally opposite colours together, which is these colours, the pinks and the greens, and we'll see how we go. So we're going to test these on 2 different types of paper. The first one is just a normal printing paper. It's 70 GSM and it's unbleached, so it's a bit of a cream colour. And the second is a marker paper or card specifically made for alcohol markers. It's 250 GSM and it's bleached, so it's bright white. And this one in particular is the Express It blending card. So if it's going to work on anything, this card will give it the best go possible. Okay, so I'm going to start out by testing the alcohol content in the ink. To do this, I'm going to pick 2 similar colours in each brand. I'm going for something that's quite pigmented and dark because it'll be easier to see the results that way. I'm just going to colour a small patch, and then I'm taking my colourless blender in the Copic and I'm going to hold it down to the pigment for a few seconds. The colourless blender is a pure alcohol marker, so what it should do is bleach the pigment away from the page. You'll kind of see that it pushes the pigment back into itself, and that shows that it reacts quite strongly to alcohol. So the Touch 5s don't actually have a brush nib, which is the easiest one to blend with. It's the most forgiving. So in the interest of just covering all ground and making sure I don't miss anything, I'm going to try both the bullet nib and the wedge nib on the Touch 5s. And as you can see, the wedge nib in this particular colour seems to be running out, which is a bit weird, seeing as these are brand new markers, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. So I don't have a blender for Touch 5, I'm not sure if they make one or not, so what I'm going to do is use the lightest grey possible in the Touch 5s as the blender, and I'm also going to use the Copic blender just to give it the best opportunity to work. And they do actually react to the alcohol, so that's perfect. You can see a difference between the 2 reactions, but that could entirely be because the Touch 5 marker has a little bit more pigment in it than the Copic. Next we're going to test how well they blend by doing a gradient in grey from light grey to dark grey. I don't know why I picked these greys in the Copic because the lightest one is running out, so it's going to look a little bit patchy, but I guess that means it's more of a challenge for the Copics to look decent against the Touch 5s. Here's a little side lesson on blending with markers. Always best to start with your lightest color, your medium color, and then your dark color, and then always go back over them with the colors. So I'm doing light, medium, dark, and then I'm going back over the section where the dark meets the medium with the medium, and then again over the light to the medium section with the lightest color. And you do this until you get a nice blend. And now I'm going to go in and do exactly the same thing with the touch fives. And I actually think both of them did quite well in this. So that's a really positive sign. I'm really quite happy with touch fives at this point. I also thought it might be a good medium test between this one and the next one to do the gradients but in the opposite direction, doing a blending technique called feathering, which is where you flick the pigment head on into each other rather than putting them side by side. It's a little bit more difficult for the pigment to blend, so it should be a good test to see how both of the markers hold up. And you can see that the lightest grey in the Copics is really dying at this point. I'm having to work quite hard to get it to do what it normally does when it's full. And now going in and doing the exact same thing with the touch fives, keeping in mind that because these ones don't have a brush nib, it is going to be a little bit more difficult to blend as nicely in this fashion. Here's a better look at all the tests on the 70 GSM paper. Probably not the most receptive paper for markers, unfortunately. And now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the Express It blending card, which is the 250 card made specifically for alcohol markers. It's going to be sped up because we've already seen how to do it, and I don't want to bore you guys, we just want to get to what the results look like. And just a side note, I did decide to swap out the Copic greys that I was using for a different set just because that lightest colour was really running out at this point. It was completely useless and I didn't have a refill for it. So initially I was using the cool greys and I changed to using the neutral greys. So here's a look at how these ones went on the 200 GSM paper. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well the touch fives held up. You can see some difference in the blending, particularly in the feathering section, but I think that is because of the nib rather than the actual marker. And yeah, I'd say they're almost on par at this point. So I didn't bother doing this third test on the lower quality paper, I just didn't think it was worth it, but we're definitely doing it on the marker paper now. So what I'm doing is I'm using two opposite colours and I'm going to try and blend them together in a gradient using the feathering method. And here's a close-up of test number 3. And unfortunately, this is where you can see quite a huge difference between the two markers. The Copics have blended together quite nicely. It didn't take me too long to get this gradient, and the touch fives just haven't. I actually spent twice as long trying to get them to blend, and they just didn't want to. I was wondering if the fact that they don't have the blending nib was the problem here with the two colours, so I decided to go back and try both the Copic and the touch fives with the wedge nib just to make sure that I had an accurate representation of both. And unfortunately I got pretty much the same result. So I hope that was useful to you guys. I think the touch five would be useful for people who want bright bold colours and not necessarily want to blend them or have anything that's particularly subtle. Unfortunately for me, I'm all about sort of like subtle pastel colours and you know, blending a lot of different colours together that shouldn't really blend together. So I think the touch fives are a no-go for me. I don't think I have any more use for them after this, so I'm going to give them to my goddaughter who's 7. I think she will get much more use out of them and it might stop her from trying to use my expensive markers. I don't think there's anything else really for me that I would test regarding these markers. If there's any other questions you guys have on them, let me know. I can always borrow them back from my goddaughter if I need to do another video on them. But yeah, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to check out the rest of my channel and you like those videos, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Also, don't forget to click that little bell notification as well, because that lets you know exactly when I'm posting. As most of you know, if you're not new here, I'm terrible at uploading on a schedule, so that way you won't miss out on anything that I've posted. If you want to see more of my artwork, or any of my artwork, you didn't really see any in this video, all of my links are down below. Yeah, I hope you guys are having an amazing Christmas break and New Year's break, and you're happy and safe and maybe getting a little bit of relaxation and a lot of artwork done. Until next time, Bye. Oh, I can't reach without dropping the dog. Hop down. Good boy. Bye.